Here we go. And then let's check the monitor. Yes. Here we go. Hey, this is Simeon from PraiseTracks.com, and man, I'm very excited about this next adventure that we're going on. And for about 6 years, I've been using the same system, and it's been doing great up until recently, where I've been pushing it a little bit harder. The Spitfire audio BBC Symphony Orchestra landed, and it really challenged my system quite a bit. Also, some of the newer virtual instruments were just a little more demanding and more powerful, and plus trying to capture video and do streaming and that kind of thing. So it was like it caused me to kind of have to think about what is the next step, because I really enjoy bringing videos and tutorials and just sharing my experiences with you. And it's like, what's next? And so it's taken me a few weeks, or really a few months, to sort of put together what I call the next production system. I landed on the Intel i9 processor as the platform, and I know what you're going to say, you know, what about AMD? Well, I thought about that quite a bit, and I'm really comfortable with Intel because of the compatibility. And what I've been hearing is that, you know, this i9 9900K, when you overclock it to 5 kilohertz, you can overclock all cores. So all cores can run at that same clock speed. And so I know it's going to really be exciting to get everything going. Also, another concern of mine was just the case and then the studio noise. And the guys, the folks at Be Quiet, I'm so grateful. They sent me one of their Dark Base 700 cases. The case that I've been using for all this time, I picked it up at a local store, and it seemed like it was okay until I realized all of the noise the power supply and the fans and the cooling were making. And one of the objectives was to come up with a system that would be quiet, and especially when you're recording vocals and that type of thing. And in this production room, I'll have maybe a soloist or someone come in to sing. And the thing that you don't want is the noise of a computer humming along. And so it's going to be really exciting to not hear how good this case is going to be. I'm using a Be Quiet power supply. Got the ASRock Z90 Extreme as my motherboard. One of the reasons that I was recommended to use this motherboard is because it has so many SATA ports already available. And so when you're using a lot of sample libraries, you've got to have storage for those. Another exciting thing is that I'm going to try using the M.2 NVMe drives, which I've heard are just like crazy fast, because they have direct access to the PCIe bus on the motherboard, especially with transferring samples and running the operating system. So this is a 1 terabyte M.2, and this is the 256 gig M.2 that I'm going to use for the Windows drive. I've got a few Samsung SSDs that I'll use for storage and projects and etc., and then some external hard drives, USB hard drives, physical hard drives for project backups and that kind of thing. Another cool thing about the Be Quiet Dark Base 700 is that it's got a real cool, and we're gonna be looking at this. I'm gonna take you through this journey with me. It's got a tempered glass window so you can kind of see inside, and it's got some really cool LED lighting. And so I thought, well, let's go with some RGB RAM. And the current system that I have is 32 gigabytes of RAM. And I'm going to jump that up to 64 gigabytes of RAM. And I know I'm going to really enjoy that extra headroom, especially when loading big sample libraries like BBCSO and some of the other orchestral and piano libraries. So this has got some RGB, and so we're going to have some fun. But what I'm saying about the RGB is that a lot of cases have the window on the let's see, I'm trying to think. Yeah, the left side of the case So if I had that in my configuration, the glass would be facing the wall and you wouldn't be able to see it. So the Darkbase 700 can reverse that, you can reverse the motherboard cage, and so the tempered glass can be on either side. So that's going to be fun to see how that's going to work. So we're also going to go with an MSI GeForce GTX 1660. It's not the latest and greatest and fastest RTX, but what I've been hearing is that the 1660 has less problems with some PCI things and speed and compatibility. So it's a reliable graphics card, and we're gonna experience that, how that works in some upcoming streams. For a CPU cooler, I went with the Noctua U14S to just kind of keep that 9900K nice and cool, especially if I try to overclock it. So I don't think I'm going to really go for overclocking right away, just to be safe, and we're just going to kind of work up to that. And got my anesthetic wrist strap, so while we're working on all this stuff, I don't shock and fry components. And so come along. Yes. Here we go. And let me just see. Okay. Wow. Boom. There we go. That's great. So, I think this is the first time I've seen this screen, and it excites me. So we've got the CPU fans. We've got chassis 1 fan, and then the yeah, you know, and you can almost put a whole nother motherboard in here. There's just so much room here for hard drive expansions and that kind of thing. Since it's inverted, the fans on the graphics card are pushing the air up, which is kind of good because heat rises, so it's going to allow the heat to kind of escape through these ventilation fans here. The front chassis fan is kind of positioned here in the middle. And then so the airflow is just going to kind of just go straight through the case, through the CPU, and then the graphics card is going to push the heat upwards, hopefully through these fins. And somebody had mentioned earlier about the brushed aluminum being a fingerprint magnet, and I'm seeing that a little bit already, but it's been handled quite a bit just putting this thing together. Okay, here we are at another step, and I brought this. This is Old Faithful here, and this is the one machine that I've been using for the past I think around 7 years. And what I didn't know at first when I got this particular case, I mean, and you can hear it kind of it's rattling and different things. Right away, you can just see what a difference. I mean, you could almost literally, if the motherboard and components weren't in this Be Quiet case, you could probably just take this and fit this right inside of the Be Quiet case. And so I've got Windows installed here. And so what I'm going to start to do is migrate some of the SSD drives and USB back plates from this computer into this computer, and then it's just like climbing a mountain. You know, when you start a system from scratch or you're rebuilding a system, it's just like you're climbing a mountain, especially installing Windows and having to go and install all of your audio applications, your plugins, all of your everything. And so it's a little overwhelming again. And I keep saying this, but the guys that do this regularly, man, I just so appreciate what they do. And when you do it yourself, you'll realize what a monumental task it is. But I just wanted you to see the old system that I was using for all those years and compared to the new one. And we're going to do a noise test here so you can actually see and sort of hear the difference in the actual noise that this case makes as opposed to the new Be Quiet case with the fans and the Noctua CPU cooler. So that's what we're going to do next. Okay, we're back, and I've got a dB meter installed on this iPhone, and I have it connected to a measurement microphone. And what we're going to do, first of all, we're just going to take a listen and look at the decibels just in the room without anything running. I do have like a little personal cloud server running, so that's the only equipment that's actually running in the house. In this particular room here. And so so let's just get a baseline reading for just like what's a quiet room without anything running here. And here we go. Okay, so it looks like we're averaging maybe 40 dB, and you can see when I'm talking, the dBs are jumping up. So we're going to just I'm just going to kind of turn this case a little bit. Okay, I turned the case a little bit so we can kind of get the microphone in a better position. But talking right now, you can see we're going between 72, 80 dB, the peak here. So I'm just going to be quiet, and then I'm going to turn the case on, and here we go. Let's see what happens here. The switch. Okay, it's on. So we're going to just power this PC on, and I'm just going to kind of hold the mic where it's facing downward towards the case here. So here we go. I'm going to just be a little quiet here before I push the power button, and here we go. Okay, so it looks like we're averaging around 50 dB, and I'm just going to shut this down. And the only thing running in this box here, in this computer, since SSDs have no moving parts, the only thing that you're hearing as far as noise is the exhaust fan in the back, the power supply fan, and the graphics card fans. So it looks like we were averaging in the 50s here. So I'm just going to go ahead and just power this down, and Be Quiet case is sort of just like in standby mode. You notice that there's this case has side vents here, and they're pretty dusty. You see that dust. One of the cool things about the Be Quiet cases is that there are removable air filters, so you can pop the cover off and slide out these air filters. And then, well, I can just do that real quick. And so what that does, that just kind of helps just to help improve the airflow and that kind of thing. Yeah, so you can you've got this one here that pops out, and you can clean that. And you see there's one really nice Be Quiet fan in here. And I've kind of positioned it in the middle because the Noctua cooler is kind of like in line with it. So that way the airflow can just go kind of straight through the case. And here's the other air filter that you can slide out, because the power supply The power supply is in the rear and the fan's facing down. The power supply in this one is facing out, so it's pushing the air out. So this is actually pushing the air from the power supply down. And you notice that there's space with the risers on the feet that give that clearance. So let's put this back in. Then we're going to pop. Let's get this in here correctly. Here we go. And you notice that the well, one of the things, the LED strips are connected from this front panel, so it just kind of matches up, and there's a connector here in the tray area. So we're going to just pop this cover back on, and that just goes on nice and secure. And here we go. So I'm going to just power this on. The other thing that the Be Quiet case has is that it has the exhaust fins up at the top. And since I've inverted this configuration so the window will be on the opposite side, actually the graphics fans, instead of being pushed down, are actually going to be going up through these fins here. So I'm interested to see how that's going to work in the long run. So once again, I'm going to just kind of hold it in the same position. I'm going to just be a little quiet here, and then we're going to see, well, we're going to hear or not hear the difference. So here we go. That's a big difference. It's about a 5 to 6 dB difference. And then also this has fan adjustments. You know, it's a little bit very significant difference, because you have larger fans going at slower RPMs that still move air, that are moving air across the components of the CPU. Next step, we're going to start to exchange the parts and keep them moving. Okay, let the transplant begin. And so this is the hard drive cage from this, the older computer, and I have I've got 4 SSDs in these cases here, and I'm going to remove those and put them in the new system. And as you can see, the Be Quiet case, you install some SSDs on the back of, actually the back of the case. It has room to put 2 here, and then another one mounts up here. And then they give you like 3 of these cages here, and a couple of them go right inside of the power supply bay. So this bay here is just totally closed off. So all of your wiring and everything is just, you know, kind of managed. I say, you know, kind of managed back here, and then all of these are additional places where you can put these drive caddies in here. So, you know, really, if you had like a big RAID server or something like that, you could pretty much fill this up and just have absolutely a ton of storage here. But I've only, you know, since I only have only four SSDs, and plus with the 2 M.2 NVMe drives in here, it's just going to give me a lot of room to store samples, to store projects, and then to use external drives to, you know, create backups and that kind of thing. So we're going to put these SSDs in and go to the next step. Okay, so we're pretty much at close to the last step in this process, and I'm just going to let you see the back the back panel here. That's one of the interesting things about this Be Quiet case, is that you can just put route all of your cables and everything through the back side, and so the inside of the case is a lot cleaner. You can see I've got the USB back plate here, so I can have access to more of the USB ports and that kind of thing. And once again, since we're doing an inverted setup, it's just really been a little challenging, but I think it's ultimately going to be exactly what I need for this particular space. So we're getting ready to put the cover on and put it down where it's going to live for a little while, and go on to the next step, and that is the fun of keeping on installing Windows and all of our audio applications. So stay tuned. The build is finally completed. Well, at least for now. So I started on this adventure to put a new studio computer together for this new year. And I just discovered so many things, ran into some interesting challenges, and learned a lot during this process. And so now, today, we have the new studio computer just sitting in its spot for right now, and it's just looking good. And one of the keys that I went with the Be Quiet case is that it's hard for me not to talk so much, and I'm going to work on that this year. But I'm just going to just let you hear how quiet the studio is. And in 3, 2, 1. I mean, it is amazing. I didn't really realize, and the only thing that you're hearing, I've got a little personal server over here that just kind of runs some storage and serves as a Plex server. So that's what you're kind of hearing if you're hearing anything. And I'm going to even work on seeing if we can just kind of chill with that as well, with the sound. I didn't realize how noisy this office was with the older system until I started working with this new system. Just really not done any projects on it yet. So I'm still finishing up some things, but it just feels so much better not having just that constant noise going on with power supply fans and hard drives and that kind of thing. You don't realize it. You don't realize it because your brain has a tendency just to kind of zone it out. But I am so excited about jumping in and producing some new content, new projects, and I'm just very excited. So just if you've not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe to our channel and click on those notifications because, I want to do this for you guys, for the viewers out there. I get great joy and satisfaction when I can do a video that kind of inspires you or helps you solve a problem that you're having. And so thanks so much for watching. Thanks for your support. I'm just looking for us to continue to grow and to be doing a lot more and having just a lot of fun in the days ahead. So still working on installing some applications and that kind of thing, but you know what? We're on our way. And so come along, and we will look forward to seeing you real soon.